Sara Blakely had $5,000 in her savings account in 1998. 23 years later, she sold her company for $1.2 billion. She never took a single investor. She owned 100% of Spanx for 21 years. Most people know she invented shapewear. Almost nobody knows how she actually did it. This video is 30 minutes. Listen while you're driving, working out, or doing something else. If you're just sitting here staring at your screen, you're probably going to get bored. But if you want to know how Sara Blakely went from selling fax machines door to door to becoming the youngest self-made female billionaire in history, the real story, not the Wikipedia version, you're in the right place. Sara Blakely. If you don't know the name, you've probably seen Spanx. The brand is everywhere now. Target, Nordstrom, every department store in America. Spanx changed how women wear clothes. But Sara didn't start with a fashion background or business degree or rich parents funding her dream. She started with $5,000, a pair of scissors, and an idea everyone told her was ridiculous. Today, in December 2025, Sara's net worth sits around $1.3 billion. Spanx sells in over 50 countries. The company employs hundreds of people. But the story of how it started, that's what we're covering. 1998. Sara Blakely was 27 years old. She was getting ready for a party in Clearwater, Florida. She had white pants she desperately wanted to wear, but they'd been hanging in her closet for 8 months. The problem? Visible panty lines, lumps under the fabric. She couldn't get the smooth look she wanted. Traditional girdles were too bulky and uncomfortable. Pantyhose had the right control top smoothing effect, but the seamed feet looked absolutely ridiculous with open-toed shoes. Sara grabbed a pair of scissors. She cut the feet off her control top pantyhose, put them on under the white pants. Her butt looked amazing. But there was a problem. The cut pantyhose rolled up her legs all night. Sara looked in the mirror and thought something that would change her life. This is my opportunity. I've got to figure out how to make this. At that moment, Sara Blakely was a full-time fax machine saleswoman. She'd been selling office equipment door to door for 7 years. She had zero experience in fashion, retail, manufacturing, or business. She didn't know a single person in the hosiery industry, but she had $5,000 in savings, and she had absolute belief in her product. Most people would have dismissed the idea. Sara's friends certainly did when she finally told them years later. But Sara had been trained for this moment her entire life. Trained by a father who asked one question every single week at the dinner table. Let me take you back. Clearwater, Florida. Sara grew up the daughter of two opposite parents. Her father, John Blakely, was a trial attorney, aggressive, analytical, spent his life in courtrooms delivering closing arguments. Her mother, Ellen Ford, was a shy artist who painted watercolors. This collision of legal precision and artistic creativity would later define Sara's approach to business. But the most significant influence came from an unusual dinner table ritual. Every week, Sara's father would ask his children, "What did you fail at this week?" If Sara or her brother didn't have a failure to report, their father would actually be disappointed. This wasn't punishment. It was intentional psychological training. After Sara shared her failures, he'd ask a follow-up. What positive came from it? What's the hidden gift? Sara describes the transformation this created. My definition of failure became not about the outcome, but about not trying. Going through life, my only failures are when I didn't try because I was scared. This reframing would prove essential decades later when every hosiery manufacturer in North Carolina rejected her prototype. When retailers dismissed her idea as ridiculous. When she heard no 242 times from investors. The failure question made Sara virtually rejection-proof. But there's another piece to Sara's psychology. Age 16. 2 traumas hit simultaneously. Sara's parents separated, and her best friend was killed. Run over by a car right in front of Sara while they were riding bikes together. Sara recalls, I was in a very, very dark place. Before her father moved out of the house, he gave Sara a gift. A cassette tape series by self-help author Wayne Dyer called How to Be a No-Limit Person. Sara didn't just listen to the tapes. She memorized all 10 tapes verbatim, played them constantly in her car throughout high school. Her friends were annoyed, but Sara didn't care. The tapes taught her how to think, not what to think. Years later, Sara would meet Wayne Dyer before his death and tell him, You came into my life at a point where it could have gone one way or another. The combination of her father's failure philosophy and Wayne Dyer's mindset training created a psychological foundation that made Sara almost immune to fear. She'd need that immunity desperately in the years ahead. Sara's childhood dream was to become an attorney like her father. She went to Florida State University, earned a communications degree, joined a sorority. During sophomore year, she studied in London. But when Sara took the law school admission test, the LSAT, she failed. Twice. The dream of law school died. Sara later admitted, "I'm a terrible test taker." But looking back, she realized something profound. If I hadn't failed the LSAT, I would be a lawyer today, and there would be no Spanx. Failure is life's way of nudging you that you're off course. Directionless after college, Sara did what any confused 22-year-old would do. She drove to Walt Disney World in Orlando and applied to work as a character. There was just one problem. Sara wanted to play Goofy, but at 5'6", she was too short. The height requirement was 5'8". Instead, Disney made her a chipmunk. Sara spent 3 months in a brown polyester spacesuit, walking on a moving sidewalk for 8 hours a day, saying the same line over and over. "Hi, welcome to Disney. Watch your step, please." The humiliation was real. She recalls seeing high school friends in line. They'd look at her big Mickey Mouse name tag and be like, Sara Blakely? Is that you?" Sara would sheepishly say, "Yeah, just get on the ride." After 3 months at the happiest place on earth, Sara had had enough. During this period, Sara also tried stand-up comedy. She wasn't particularly good at it, but the experience taught her something valuable. Comedians told her that the hard K sound makes people laugh. Brands like Kodak, Coca-Cola, Kinko's, they all use the K sound because it's psychologically catchy. Years later, this insight would influence her product naming strategy. The comedy training also taught Sara to embrace embarrassment, a skill that would prove essential when she'd later pitch her product in department store bathrooms. Sara returned to Clearwater and accepted a job with Danka, an office supply company. Her job? Sell fax machines door-to-door in hot, humid Florida. It was brutal work. People hung up on her cold calls. Business owners ripped up her business card in front of her face. She heard no more times than she could count. But Sara was good at sales. By age 25, she was promoted to national sales trainer. She learned to be concise, to answer, "What's in it for me?" and to read people's body language. Sara later said, "It was great life training." The job taught her how to handle rejection, which would become her superpower. But there was a problem. Sara hated the pantyhose she had to wear. In the oppressive Florida heat, being encased from waist to toes in nylon was miserable. She particularly hated the seamed foot that showed through her open-toed shoes. For 7 years, this was an annoying wardrobe problem. Then, at age 27, it became a billion-dollar idea. Back to 1998. Sara had just cut the feet off her pantyhose. She looked in the mirror. The idea was born. But Sara made a strategic decision that most entrepreneurs get wrong. She told no one about her idea for an entire year. Not friends, not family, not colleagues. Why? Sara later explained, "Ideas are most vulnerable the moment they're born. If I had heard my friends and family say things like, 'Why hasn't someone already done this?' Or, 'The big guys will knock you off in 6 months,' I would probably still be selling fax machines." Sara kept her Danka job 9 to 5 and worked on her idea every night and weekend. She researched fabrics, studied patents, learned about trademarks. She had $5,000 in savings. She couldn't afford a patent attorney. So Sara went to the library, read books on patent law, and wrote her own patent application. Years later, she told Oprah, "I wrote my own patent. The manufacturer didn't believe me when I told him Neiman Marcus wanted my product. He thought I was going to give these as Christmas gifts for the next 5 years." Sara also needed a name. She remembered what her comedian friends taught her about the hard K sound. She liked brands like Kodak and Coca-Cola. She wanted that K sound in her product name. Driving in her car one day, the name hit her. Spanx. She pulled over and wrote it down on a scrap piece of paper. Later, she changed the spelling to Spanx. She'd read that made-up names sell better. She trademarked it for $150. Now came the hard part. Manufacturing. Sara called every hosiery mill in North Carolina. Every single one said no. The male mill owners didn't understand the product. They didn't see the need. They thought it was ridiculous. So Sara did what she learned in her Donka cold calling days. Go face to face. She took a week off work and drove to North Carolina. Sat in mill lobbies and waited to pitch the owners in person. Got about 5 minutes per pitch. Every single one rejected her again. Sara drove home to Atlanta, discouraged but not defeated. Her father had trained her for this. 2 to 3 weeks later, her phone rang. It was a mill owner named Sam from Charlotte, North Carolina. He said, "Sara, I've decided to help make your crazy idea." Sara asked why he changed his mind. Sam's answer, "I have 3 daughters." Sam had gone home and told his daughters about Sara's pitch. His daughters looked at him and said, "Dad, that idea makes sense. You should help her." Sam became Sara's first manufacturing partner. It was the breakthrough she needed. With prototype in hand, Sara needed distribution. Her target? Neiman Marcus, one of the most prestigious department stores in America. Sara called her local Neiman Marcus in Atlanta. The receptionist laughed at her and said, "We have a buying office in Dallas." Sara looked up the Dallas buying office number and called repeatedly. She applied her Donka training. Keep calling until you get them on the phone. Don't leave a message. Finally, the buyer answered. Sara's pitch. "I'm Sara Blakely, and I've invented a product that's going to change the way your customers wear clothes." The buyer said, "If you're willing to fly here, I'll give you 10 minutes. Sara's friends begged her, "Don't go to Neiman Marcus headquarters with that red backpack. Buy a Prada bag and return it the next day." Sara refused. The backpack was from college. It was her lucky red backpack. She flew to Dallas with her prototype in a Ziploc bag from her kitchen and a color copy of her packaging made on a friend's computer. Sara sat in the intimidating Neiman Marcus conference room, impeccably dressed buyer across from her. She started her pitch. 5 minutes in, Sara could tell she was losing her. 7 years of cold calling had taught Sara to read body language. The buyer was polite but disengaged. Sara was about to lose the deal. She had to do something radical. Sara asked, "Will you come to the bathroom with me?" The buyer looked at her. "Excuse me?" Sara said, "I know it's a little weird, but can you just follow me to the bathroom? I'm going to actually show you what my product can do." The buyer, stunned, agreed. Sara went into a bathroom stall and changed into her white pants, first without Spanx, then with Spanx. She came out of the stall. The transformation was undeniable. The buyer looked at her and said, "I get it. It's brilliant, and I'm going to put it in 7 stores." Sara ran out of Neiman Marcus, got in her rental car, and called Sam the manufacturer from the road to the airport. Sam, it's Sara. Neiman Marcus wants it." Total silence. Sam said, "What do you mean Neiman Marcus wants it?" Sara, "Neiman Marcus wants my product. I need more." Sam, "Sara, man, I gotta be honest. I thought you were gonna give these as Christmas gifts and birthday gifts for the next 5 years. What do you mean Neiman Marcus wants it?" Spanx launched in 7 Neiman Marcus stores in fall 2000. Sara immediately executed a guerrilla marketing plan that violated every corporate rule. Tactic number 1, she paid friends to buy the product. Sara called every friend she even remotely knew near the 7 stores. Some were people she'd sat next to in 4th grade. She'd say, "Hey, it's Sara. Remember me? Can you do me a favor and go into Neiman Marcus and act like you've been looking for a product called Spanx your whole life? Buy it and I'll mail you a check." It worked. Store reps started calling Sara, stunned that Spanx were selling. Tactic number 2, unauthorized display bins. Sara noticed her product was relegated to a tiny corner in the hosiery department, so she bought bins at Office Depot and placed them at every single checkout counter in Neiman Marcus stores. This was absolutely not allowed. Neiman Marcus has a strict visual merchandising department, but nobody stopped her. Sara later explained everyone thought somebody else approved it. When management finally discovered what Sara had done, the CEO said, "Whatever this girl is doing, let her keep doing it." Sara's philosophy: I always say ask for forgiveness, not permission. Tactic number 3, personal in-store demos. Sara personally visited Neiman Marcus stores and demonstrated Spanx to every sales associate. Showed them the before and after. Trained them to sell it. Word of mouth exploded. Bloomingdale's, Saks Fifth Avenue, and Bergdorf Goodman all placed orders. As sales grew, Sara faced a critical moment. She was running out of friends and money. She needed a miracle. One day, Sara was watching TV. Oprah Winfrey came on and mentioned that she, too, cuts the feet off her pantyhose. Sara took it as a sign from Oprah. She decided to go all in. Sara mailed Spanx samples to Oprah's stylist, Andre Walker, with a handwritten note. Walker tried them on Oprah. He noticed Oprah started looking 10 pounds lighter. In November 2000, Oprah named Spanx one of her favorite things on her annual show. Sara describes the moment. Right when I was running out of friends and money, Oprah called. She chose it as her favorite product of the year. Sara had 3 weeks to get a website up and secure enough inventory for the explosion. She pulled it off. In 2001, Sara signed a contract with QVC. On her first appearance, she sold 8,000 pairs in 6 minutes. For the next several years, Sara appeared on QVC 6 to 12 times per month. No advertising, no investors, just Sara selling her product on live TV. Year 1, 2000, Spanx did $4 million in revenue. Year 2, 2001, $10 million. The growth was explosive, and Sara did something almost unheard of in modern business. For 21 years, she never took outside investment. She owned 100% of Spanx, zero debt, zero advertising initially. Why? Sara explained, I wanted to make my own mistakes and learn from them. I didn't want to answer to anyone else. This decision meant Sara had to bootstrap everything. She worked 24/7 customer service, stayed up all night stuffing orders into white padded envelopes from Office Depot, but it also meant that when Blackstone offered to buy a majority stake in 2021, the $1.2 billion valuation made Sara a billionaire overnight. Sara's philosophy was simple. Product is king. Even as CEO of a billion-dollar company, Sara spent time in the fit room once per week, trying on every single product Spanx sells. She said, if I don't like it, if the team doesn't like it, if it doesn't fit right, we don't sell it. We don't launch it. This obsession with product quality became Spanx's competitive advantage. Competitors could copy the concept, but they couldn't replicate Sara's fanatical attention to fit and comfort. Sara also brought her father's failure philosophy into Spanx's corporate culture. She created Oops meetings, monthly gatherings where employees had to stand up and share their biggest screw-ups. At first, employees were terrified, but Sara shared her own mistakes first. The meetings transformed company culture. Employees became more willing to take risks and innovate. Problems got surfaced and solved faster. Spanx developed a reputation for creative problem-solving. Sara explained, if you can create a culture where your employees are not terrified to fail or make a mistake, then they're going to be highly productive and more innovative. She also challenged her team with questions like, if no one had shown you how to do your job, how would you approach it? Employees had to identify 3 things per day that could be improved, whether a process, a product, or anything else. During COVID-19, Sara asked every employee to submit a product idea. She said, I don't care if you're the receptionist or in logistics. I want a product submission from everybody because times like this foster innovation. Every new Spanx employee goes through Be Bold Bootcamp. One of the mandatory activities? Performing stand-up comedy. Sara's reasoning, nothing helps you think faster on your stockingless feet than stand-up. The comedy training forces employees to embrace vulnerability and get comfortable with embarrassment. The same skills Sara developed selling fax machines and pitching products in bathrooms. Now let's talk about Sara's core psychological framework. Her core belief, failure became not about the outcome, but about not trying. This mental model made her virtually immune to rejection. When hosiery manufacturers said no, she didn't internalize it as personal failure. When Neiman Marcus buyers were skeptical, she saw it as a challenge to get creative. Sara says, failure is life's way of nudging you that you're off course. The only failure I've ever had is if I don't try. Sara openly admits she has many fears. Flying, public speaking, heights, but she refuses to let fear stop her. She made a decision one day that she was not going to do things in her life because of fear. Her strategy? Intentionally embarrass herself. Sara says, Fear of failure is really fear of what other people think. Fear of being embarrassed. I will intentionally embarrass myself. I do it often. Before major presentations, Sara connects with nature to feel small and diminish fear. She also visualizes success extensively. At age 16, Sara memorized Wayne Dyer's How to Be a No-Limit Person tapes. The training taught her how to control her thoughts rather than be controlled by them. Sara used visualization throughout her journey. She knew she'd be on Oprah before it happened. She journaled about being self-employed and inventing something years before Spanx existed. Sara had zero experience in fashion, retail, or business when she started Spanx, but she reframed ignorance as advantage. She says, "What you don't know can be your greatest asset. Don't be intimidated by what you don't know." Because Sara didn't know the right way to do things, she invented her own methods. Bathroom pitches, unauthorized display bins, paying friends to buy products, writing her own patent. Sara says, "Being underestimated is both my greatest weakness and strength." Just like Jeff Bezos bootstrapped Amazon in his garage in the early days, Sara bootstrapped Spanx from her apartment. Just like Howard Schultz faced hundreds of investor rejections before Starbucks took off, Sara heard no 242 times. Just like Steve Jobs obsessed over product quality at Apple, Sara spent every week in the fit room perfecting Spanx. This pattern, relentless focus, rejection resilience, product obsession, isn't unique to Sara. It's the pattern of every founder who builds something that lasts. Sara's core mission became elevate women. She says, "I feel like money makes you more of who you already are. If you're an asshole, you become a bigger asshole. If you're nice, you become nicer." Her giving pledge letter states, "I pledge to invest in women because I believe it offers one of the greatest returns on investment. While many of the world's natural resources are being depleted, one is waiting to be unleashed: women." After finishing second on Richard Branson's Rebel Billionaire reality show in 2003, Branson gave Sara $750,000 to start a foundation. The Sara Blakely Foundation launched in 2006 with a focus on women's empowerment through education, entrepreneurship, and the arts. Notable contributions include $1 million to Oprah's Leadership Academy for Girls in South Africa, over $25 million donated to various causes by 2024. Spanx has a rotating employee philanthropy board that allocates company profits. Employees research organizations and hand-deliver checks. In 2013, Sara joined the Giving Pledge, a commitment by the world's wealthiest to donate at least 50% of their wealth to charity. Her pledge letter states, "I am committed to the belief that we would all be in a much better place if half the human race, women, were empowered to prosper, invent, be educated, start their own businesses, run for office, essentially be given the chance to soar." Sara became the first woman to join the Giving Pledge. During COVID-19, Sara launched the Red Backpack Fund, $5,000 each to 1,000 female-owned small businesses. The entire fund was self-financed from Sara's personal money. Sara explained, "I am a business owner. I've been a small business owner. I just care deeply about entrepreneurs. They're the backbone of our community." October 20th, 2021. After 21 years of owning 100% of Spanx, Sara sold a majority stake to Blackstone at a valuation of $1.2 billion. Sara retained a significant equity stake, possibly up to 49%, and became executive chairwoman. Additional investors in the closing included Oprah Winfrey, Reese Witherspoon, and Whitney Wolfe Herd, founder of Bumble. Sara posted on Instagram, "People have asked me for 20 years, when will you sell Spanx? And for 20 years I would say, I'll just know. Well, that day is today. I will remain a significant shareholder and continue to help the business fulfill its greatest potential, as well as continue to fulfill my greatest passion: elevating women." At the time of the sale, Spanx's annual revenue was estimated at $300 to $400 million. The deal restored Sara's billionaire status after her net worth had dipped to $750 million during the pandemic. Current net worth in December 2025, $1.2 to $1.3 billion. But here's what Sara did next that nobody expected. After selling to Blackstone, Sara gave all 500 to 750 employees $10,000 cash each, plus 2 first-class plane tickets to anywhere in the world. A video of the announcement went viral, employees screaming, crying, gasping in disbelief. Sara told them, "This marks a moment for female entrepreneurs. There aren't enough women being funded. 50% of entrepreneurs are women, and only 2.3% of all VC funding goes to women." Sara married Jesse Itzler in 2008. Itzler is a successful entrepreneur himself. He co-founded Marquis Jet, which sold to Berkshire Hathaway. He partnered with Zico Coconut Water, which sold to Coca-Cola. He co-owns the Atlanta Hawks. They have 4 children: Laser, Lincoln, Charlie, and Tepper. Early in their marriage, Jesse was based in New York, while Sara ran Spanx in Atlanta. They traveled extensively to maintain the relationship. Sara told Marie Claire, "We don't talk much about work together. We're older now and have other things we're interested in." Despite her success, Sara still struggles with public speaking anxiety. Before presentations, she connects with nature to manage fear. She's also afraid of flying, yet traveled constantly for years to build Spanx. Sara uses Wayne Dyer's principles to manage self-doubt and negative self-talk. She's developed a practice of reframing challenges as opportunities, the same skill her father taught her at the dinner table. So how did Sara Blakely do it? Not luck, not genius, a method. She kept her idea secret for a year while everyone around her was sharing half-baked concepts on social media. She wrote her own patent because she couldn't afford an attorney. She pitched in bathrooms because conference rooms weren't working. She paid friends to create demand because she didn't have a marketing budget. She asked for forgiveness, not permission, because waiting for approval would have killed momentum. Sara turned $5,000 into $1.2 billion because she had a father who asked, "What did you fail at this week?" Because she had Wayne Dyer's voice in her head at 16, when everything fell apart. Because she spent 7 years hearing no as a fax machine saleswoman and learned that rejection is just information, not identity. Because she cut the feet off pantyhose and actually believed the idea was worth pursuing. 1998, $5,000 in savings. 2012, youngest self-made female billionaire at age 41. 2021, $1.2 billion exit. In between, 23 years, 0 investors, and a strategy built on failure, embarrassment, and relentless belief. That's how Sara Blakely built Spanx.